With your CIGTV News Update, I'm Donna Bush. Thanks as always for joining us. Top government officials are part of a media awareness workshop. Now, the session organized by the governor's office. The workshop helped participants look at the role played by mainstream and social media in a crisis and how to communicate their messages effectively and consistently through both. The goal was for those in attendance to understand how journalists think and react in a crisis and how to work effectively with them to understand the benefits of being a proactive media participant rather than reacting to events as they unfold, and to be able to introduce broadcast interview techniques that can be used both by those carrying out interviewing and by those briefing or supporting crisis leaders. Now, the workshop lasted one day. Now let's take a look at some of the other school leaving ceremonies taking place this time of year. Minister for Education, the Honorable Juliana O'Connor-Connolly, has attended all of these events so far in 2019. Here she speaks with students leaving Year 6 at the Savannah Primary School.
The teachers are there to assist you, and I believe any teacher worth their salt is willing and waiting to assist you because you are their masterpiece children. And parents, remember, it's like a tripod. You're one of those legs. What happens when you remove one of the legs? Probably don't have a very good balance, do you? Be there for your child. God could have chosen anyone in this whole wide world to be the parent, but He chose you to be the parent of these beautiful children behind us. Count it a privilege, count it a blessing, and assist them in every way that you can to help them to maximize their potentialities.
She was recently on Kim and Brack for the Layman E. Scott High School's graduation and West End school leaving ceremony. Government primary schools are celebrating the transition of their most senior students who will move on from Year 6 to Year 7 this coming September. Over in Grand Cayman, East End Primary, Bordentown Primary, Savannah, and Demole primaries have all held ceremonies to bid farewell to their Year 6 students. To add and share in the spirit of the ceremonies, the ceremonies have boasted themes such as making a difference, champions for life, and soar like an eagle towards your dreams. Now, the ceremonies have been attended by government ministers, MLAs, and officials such as the Honorable Moses Colonel, the Honorable Dwayne Seymour, and of course the Honorable Juliana O'Connor-Connolly, Minister for Education. As I mentioned earlier, she's attended all of these ceremonies so far this year. The Education Minister, of course, again, has been on hand presenting awards and providing words of encouragement to the various school leavers and graduates. The primary school leaving ceremonies will continue in the coming weeks at Red Bay, Prospect, Georgetown, Sir John A. Cumber, and Creek and Spot Bay primaries, while the Lighthouse School will also host their ceremony or school leaving ceremony, and John Gray and Clifton Hunter High Schools will celebrate their school leaving graduations at the end of August. Finally, making our headlines today, UCCI graduate Laurent Bauden receives the Wendy Bullock Lifetime Achievement Bursary from flavor giant McCormick. Bauden, a hospitality program graduate at UCCI, is heading to Johnson & Wales University in Florida to further his studies in food and beverage management. Laurent is a promising, talented young man who has maintained constant focus and discipline throughout his academic career at UCCI, said Mr. Wayne Jackson, director of the School of Hospitality Studies. The budding hospitality professional stood out amongst his peers. According to Mr. Jackson, McCormick has pledged US $5,000 annually for 10 years to support Caymanian graduates of the hospitality school's studies to pursue further studies in culinary and food and beverage. Now, the scholars may also have the opportunity to spend an actual week at McCormick to explore diverse career opportunities in the food industry with the prospect of a summer internship. We say congratulations to Laurent Bauden. For a look at our weekly schedule of programs here on CIG Television, you can go online to gis.gov.ky. If you happen to have missed today's news update, you can go online to the Cayman Islands Government Facebook page, as well as the CIG Television YouTube channel. I'm Donna Bush, as always, thanking you for joining us, wishing you a wonderful and, of course, a very safe night on our roads. Again, join us for tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye for now. Did you know that planning permission is required for a shed? Did you know you should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required? Did you know planning permission is required to clear land by mechanical means? You should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required.
Boating, fishing, and water sports in the Cayman Islands are great, but keep a cool head. Here are 7 tips for fun and safe sea outings. Number 1. Use a checklist to plan your outing. Check the weather forecast, make a float plan, and share it with someone who is remaining on land, stating where you're going, with whom, and when you're expected to return. Visit your nearest marine supply store to get your safety gear. This includes signaling mirrors, whistles, and a flare kit. It's also very important to have onboard flotation devices and life vests for each person. There are different types of vests. Some are for water sport activities such as snorkeling, and others are for going on offshore boating or on fishing trips. Number 2. These items can be lifesavers in case of an accident or bad weather. Number 3. Use a motor kill switch, especially if you're boating alone. In case of a leak or breakdown, always stay with the boat until help arrives. If you capsize, an emergency beacon or locator device can send a distress signal to inform the authorities of your location. Larger flares will indicate distress to a boat, airplane, or search and rescue officials. Number 4. In addition to sunscreen, food, and beverages, it would be smart to have a cell phone. Make sure your marine radio works. Cayman boaters use Channel 16 to communicate. Number 5. Also, don't forget your anchor and sufficient rope. Number 6. Boat operators should be familiar with the local waters and reefs, as well as the capabilities and functions of the vessels they are using. Always obey the rules of the sea and the marine environment, and have courtesy for others. Number 7. Alcohol and salt water do not mix, especially if you're the captain. Some useful contact numbers are 911. The RCIPS Marine Base is 649-7710, and the Port Authority is 949-2055. Smooth sailing, all!
The Esterly Tibbetts Highway 3-lane roundabout is ready for drivers. It's time to make sure you know how to use it. First, know which exit you need to take. Pay attention to lane arrows and signs. Make sure you use your signal to change lanes or exit the roundabout. To turn left, you always approach in the left-hand lane and indicate left. To drive straight ahead, you need to be looking out for signs and road markings indicating which lane to use. Get in one of the lanes marked with a straight-through arrow. If turning right, you must use the right-hand lane and indicate accordingly. To use the roundabout safely, remember these 3 tips. Know your exit, pick your lane, and signal to make your turn.